Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today I am sharing some products that are on the chopping block. Products that I am thinking about decluttering, but I want to give them a fair chance before I decide for sure. I think the first person that came up with this idea originally was Love Heatherette. She is another project panner here on YouTube. I will link hers below. I think it was her that kind of started this years ago. But I've seen many YouTubers do similar kind of chopping block videos, so I'm just going to link a bunch down below, but I do believe it was Love Heatherette that started it. But this is my first time filming a video like this, and I have picked out 14 items from my collection that I'm kind of on the fence about. I want to give them a fair shot. In a few weeks to a month, I will come back and update you and let you know what I decided to keep and what I decided to get rid of. So the first couple of products that I have here are eyeshadow palettes. The first one is the Perfusion Spectrum palette. So Perfusion is a very affordable brand. They are really actually very well known for their eyeshadow palettes. They make really good eyeshadows. These 10-pan palettes are $5. This palette in particular really does perform like a $5 palette. I have their Mauves palette, which is in this same type of packaging, and I love that one. That one is fantastic. This one, it's just not, it's not great quality. On top of that, these are just not shades that I reach for super often. And you know, the few times that I have used this palette, every time I use it, I'm kind of like, I struggle. I struggle with the shades. They go on patchy. Some of them I have to spend like 10 minutes just building up so that I can get the color to actually show up. A big way that I like to use colors like this is as a soft winged liner. And don't get me wrong, I love a soft winged liner with eyeshadow. That's kind of why I use eyeshadows for that technique. But these take so much work to build up to where you can even see them. I did like a peachy pink eye look a couple months ago where I wanted to use the shade Beat, this orange shade, as a liner, and it showed up like the softest peach orange, even though I built it up and built it up and built it up. I probably dipped my brush in there 20 times to even get it to show up. It was just a struggle. I used this in the Shop My Stash look, I think in August. If you saw that video, the look came out pretty nice. I mean, it was a very bright kind of fuchsia, pink, and orange look, and it came out really fun and bright, and you know, the overall final look was fine, but I just struggled with the shadows, and that combined with the fact that I don't even really reach for these shades that often, I'm thinking about getting rid of it. The thing that's made me hold on to this for so long is that I don't really have that many bright colors in my collection, and so I kind of see this as a supplemental palette. But if I'm not using it, then what's the point? So yeah, we're gonna have to think about that one. And then the other one, this may come as a surprise because you guys know I love these 18-pan palettes from e.l.f., but the e.l.f. Opposites Attract palette, while I really do enjoy this palette, I hardly ever find myself reaching for it. It does have a lot of similarities with the Anastasia Subculture palette, which I love. I actually just got done doing a 1-month 1 palette with that palette, and I love those tones. They're so much fun, especially for the fall. This has a lot of those same kinds of colors. So not only do I feel like this overlaps quite a bit with Subculture, but I just don't find myself reaching for this one nearly as much as I do for Subculture. For some reason, I just don't feel as excited about this palette. So I'm gonna make an effort to play with this and see if I do find inspiration in this palette. I also wanna try swatching it next to Subculture and any shades that are not duped in Subculture. I wanna see if I can't dupe those with other shadows in my collection. If I can dupe every single shade from this with the rest of my collection, I'm probably gonna declutter this, but I want to see if maybe I do feel a need to keep it once I've maybe just tried to use it a little bit more. Another eyeshadow, this is just an eyeshadow duo from Jordana. This is in the shade Cashmere and Silk. I used this in my full face of Jordana video, and I really loved it in that video. But if you watch that video, then you saw that the shimmer shade in here really had tremendous fallout. And the more I've used it, the more I've realized that that is one of the worst shadows fallout-wise that I've ever used. It is pretty much inevitable. I've tried it with a glitter primer, I've tried applying it with my finger, with a brush, with the sponge tip. I can't remember if I've tried it with a wet brush yet, so I'm gonna try that next. If I still get insane fallout that way, I'm probably gonna have to just let this go because I just feel it's so, like normally fallout doesn't bother me that much, but it sticks to my cheeks. Like I can't even really brush it away with a brush. I love that shade so much that it makes me want to keep it, but that fallout is just so bad that I find myself not even wanting to reach for it. So we will try that. All right, a couple of primers that I feel like I just need more experience with to see if they really do anything. The NYX Angel Veil and the Jordana Prime No Pores Pore Refining Face Primer. So these are two primers that I never really feel like they do a whole lot, but I don't feel like I've given them that many chances. The Jordana one is not what you'd expect from a pore refining primer. It really just feels kind of lotiony, and it almost feels more like a moisturizing primer to me than a pore filling primer. So there's that. And then the Angel Veil, I don't even really know what this is supposed to be. I think it's called a skin perfecting primer. I guess it's kind of smoothing. So I want to try these with a few different foundations. I want to really put them to the test and kind of wear them on one side of my face and not on the other side and see if there's a difference. I just want to really test these out some more before I decide to get rid of them. If I end up liking them, or if they're kind of just okay, like somewhere in the middle, I don't really feel like they do a whole lot, but they're not bad, I will most likely keep them and at least just use them up, because it's actually pretty easy for me to use up primers. But if I end up not liking them and I feel like they're doing something negative, then that is when I would get rid of them. So just really want to give these a few more shots and see. I just feel like I haven't quite figured either of those primers out yet. The Flower Light Illusion Foundation is another product on the chopping block right now. Really expected to like this just from the name. It's supposed to be luminous. I really didn't like this last winter when I first tried it. I felt like it accentuated dryness on my skin. It didn't look good on my skin. It looked very makeup-y. I just didn't feel like it was doing me any favors. When I tried it again in the summer, when my skin was more normal to even a little bit oily, I liked it more. So I kind of just want to try it a few more times and just see. Sometimes I don't like a foundation to begin with, and then as time goes on, I do end up liking it. That happened with the Pacifica foundation. So it could just be that I need to try it a few more times and just see, because sometimes foundations surprise me. I just want to give this a few more chances, basically. Okay, a couple of color correctors. I have these e.l.f. Color correcting sticks. I have both the light one and the deep one. The deep one is like a really dark orange, and the lighter one is more of a peachy orange. I don't feel like these make a big difference for my under eyes. I really don't. I do just kind of want to, I don't know, I don't want to declutter them right away. One person had the idea that I could repurpose them for blush, especially the lighter shade. It looks kind of like similar to the e.l.f. Bite Size Face Duo in Cantaloupe, kind of like that shade, and I really like that shade as a blush, so I'm going to try that actually as a cream blush and see if I like it that way. I may keep trying it as a color corrector for my under eyes just to see if maybe there's a way to make it work. The deeper one, again, I'm going to try to find a way to repurpose it. Maybe I could mix the two and use them as a blush, but we'll see. I just kind of want to try them a few more times in a few more different ways before I decide for sure if I'm going to get rid of them, which is kind of the premise of this whole video. Okay, this e.l.f. Tinted Lip Oil, this has survived quite a few declutters already, and I've kept it every single time because I really like the shade. It's like this beautiful brick red. I don't have anything else like this. But the problem is that it's a lip oil, and it's a very dark, bold shade, and this dark of a color just isn't really suited for this type of a formula. I wouldn't even want a gloss this color, but this being a lip oil, it's even a little bit more thin and kind of slippery. It's prone to feathering. The last time I wore this for one of my looks in my 3 Looks 1 palette with the Urban Decay Stone Vibes palette, and I was noticing as I wore it, as I talked in that video, the way that it wore off a lot as I was talking, and it kind of started to just feather and look messy. And I mean, it's no wonder, because it's this kind of dark color in a very thin, glossy, oily format, and I just don't know. Like, I wish that I could transform this into like a liquid lipstick or something, because then I would absolutely love it, but It's just like as I'm wearing it, let me show you the swatch on my hand here. In just the like minute that it's been on my hand, just look at the way that it's like sinking into the lines of my hand. It's fading already. Yeah, it's just the formula is not great. So I want to try it a few more times, maybe with a lip liner, maybe as a cream blush. I don't know, we'll see. But this, it's not looking good for this one. I'm probably going to end up decluttering that. Also, this e.l.f. liquid highlight, it just comes in one shade, I'm pretty sure, just says illuminating. I really like this, but I'm trying to decide if I should keep it because I feel like I never use it, but maybe I should use it more, you know what I mean? It's a very kind of glossy highlight, and I don't really have anything else quite like that, and I do like the idea of that, kind of for really light natural makeup days, maybe on days where I'm like not setting my face with powder. I don't know, I want to like this. I want to use it more, I just don't know why I'm not using it. So I need to try to use it more and see if maybe it is worth keeping, and maybe once I use it more, I'll feel differently about it. The last three things are lip products, all from Axiology. These are all three of the Axiology lip products that I have. I don't know why I never want to wear these. I have the shade Clarity, which is a red. I have the shade Loyalty, which is more of a nude pink. And then I have their crayon in Vibration, which is like a sheer red. I don't know why. There's something about these that for some reason I don't ever want to wear them. They all have kind of this weird borderline metallic sheen, but it's very soft. Look what just happened. It's a very soft sheen. I've almost got kind of like a satin finish to them, but it's from some sort of like tiny, tiny micro metallic shimmerness. I don't know how to describe it, but for some reason I don't like that. It makes it feel cheap to me almost. I don't know what it is. I love the packaging of these. I think they're so gorgeous, and I like that the metal tubes for the bullet lipsticks are recyclable apparently, but I've just never really gotten into these. I feel like you never hear me talking about them, you never see me wearing them unless I'm like forcing myself to wear them. I don't know. So I'm gonna give these a few more chances. Maybe I'll discover that I actually love them. So those are all the products that are on the chopping block today. I felt like this was kind of an interesting take on a declutter because I'm really gonna be giving these products another chance before I decide for sure. I feel like sometimes with regular declutter videos, I'm kind of trying to rush my decisions, and sometimes I feel like, you know, I'm like, maybe I should declutter this, but maybe I just need to try it in a few different ways before I really decide for sure, or maybe I just haven't given it enough chances to begin with. I'm somebody that kind of would rather declutter as kind of a last resort. Like, I don't necessarily agree with the idea that you should just declutter everything that you're not absolutely in love with. For most people, that's just not realistic. I mean, most of us have spent our money on products. The only thing from here that I received in PR were the Axiology lipsticks. Everything else I spent my own money on, so I would rather find a way to use them. But if I can't find a way to use them that I like, or I just find that they're kind of a pain, or they're just taking up space and I don't need them anymore, then of course I'd rather find a friend or family member, somebody who would enjoy them more than I do. So that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely stay tuned to find out what I decided about all of these products. But if you enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you again very soon, and hopefully I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.